welcome to the Undiscovered Worlds podcast. Your host, Michael DeConza. In this episode, we'll be talking about mods and the community, why they matter, and how they keep the games alive. From games like Skyrim, Fallout, even to Minecraft, Steam Workshop titles, even games that have been intentionally modded, and how players become creators in that way. And let's explore the creativity worlds that the community builds. Let's just dive straight into it. What are mods? Mods are basically any different way of adding content to the game, but not changing the core mechanics of the game in necessarily way. Like, for example, mods could also be extra content for the game, or putting some shaders to increase the immersions of old titles as well, to make it more graphical friendly to the newer years of the content with more performance. And so it doesn't feel like you're playing a very old retro game in that way. Mods really show how the community reflects their way of creativity and how they build it. Mods matter to the player and the developers in the way that mods have kept games alive for some games for decades and continuing to build on from that. Developers love it because their game is still being shared, supported, and community built. And developers in that way could also maybe do updates to their game to actually put mods as their part of their game as well. Or they just leave it alone because they love the community to build on that and expand on it and leave the freedom up to them and love exploring their worlds that they created as well. Mods aren't just add-ons. They show how players take ownership of the game. So mods that people create give the game new life from the game that players play, and still having the core mechanics basically on that game as well. But it builds a relationship towards the studio and the community as well. And it's showing the love and the support that they have towards this game because they see the potential that they could add to in their different perspective, the different light, their different way of thinking as well. The player basically will become a creative flow person, and their way of showing their art as well in the form of modding, we're still having the love for that game and inspiration to still play their game as well. So studios and modders do love each other in that form of setting as well. So the communities that are out there for modders that I know of: CurseForge, Nexus Mods, DB, Feed the Beast, and then you got the Steam Workshop, where you can see all the mods that the community modders have made for different titles, different things. So CurseForge is definitely heavily more Minecraft based, with all their mods on there, millions of mods, where they have recently done a partnership with Hightail. So they'll have their mods on there, which their game has been released from this year, which has been good. Nexus Mods, definitely well known as well, has been around for a while. They are big on, obviously, Skyrim, Fallout, and then some Cyberpunk. You can get some Stardew Valley mods on there too. But mainly the Skyrim is where you get all your mods from, the Nexus community. And they got the mods that are Steam Workshop titles, XCOM, which is one, got Gary's mod, and there is some out there as well that I haven't looked further into, but there's probably hundreds of them as well out there. So within those areas to find mods where they talk, you can see uplisted mods and where they do that. the community decides to make their own place to communicate, to talk about it, to express their feelings, to share their ideas. You got obviously they talk on Discord servers. They make their own subreddits for their game. So they'll probably make a subreddit of Skyrim, subreddit for mods. So they'll do a subreddit probably for Fallout too, and then GitHub, which is where they will talk about their content and probably share files as well. So it's really a collaboration aspect as well with the community, with modding. Everyone's talking about it. It's mainly open source sometimes, especially if people do it on GitHub, where they will be sharing files, talking about it and expressing their way of showing how they have mod their game. And the other light is these are digital games and things that we're talking about by modding. However, you can technically still consider board games and card games to be modded, but it's more in a different way of going about it, where it's like, for example, with you could, in your family, say this is the way we play it. This is not the rules that you're supposed to play, which is technically the way of modding, because you've changed the core mechanic in a different way. You're not changing. Sorry, you're not changing the core mechanic, but you're adding different rules to it to make it feel a different play style. Is a good example of what a mod would be in a physical game aspect, where you set different rules and you play different ways of things. And people would make fan card illustrations of trading cards like Pokemon. They'll make a fan card. You can go in and make a monster card or a trap card, their own different style, their own different version, and say, what happens if I add this on into the deck that I made? They could do that, and they'll just have fun with that. And some of the websites would be good to talk about communities about board games, card games. Board Game Geek is a website for all your board game users. And then obviously you've got the tabletop simulator game that is on Steam. They have their own workshop, their community, where people probably make their own preparations of different board games, because it's workshop, it's modded, and different preparations or their board game. So you could subscribe to it, add it, and play it. And that is a different way of modding in a physical concept of gaming. I don't want to ignore that because it's still part of the topic as compared to the digital. It's mainly talked about digital, but I thought I'll shine a bit of light on what I think about the physical way of modding. Most of the time, modders make mods without being driven by profit. It is purely creativity and passion towards the game and the community they live in. Sometimes the modders become professionals and start to become studio devs because they feel confident and they're like, what happens if I actually make a game now? In that way. So modders can become studio developers as well, because they feel like they've shown their creativity in their community and they're like, I feel supported, I feel heard. What happens if I was trying to do something a bit more adventurous, which is a good way as well? They feel heard, they feel supported, they feel respected in this modded community in that way. So the next topic we'll be covering is Skyrim and Fallout, as I chose them as my big topic to talking about mods keeping games alive, because they've been around for a decade. So as I explained earlier, Nexus mods is one of the biggest platforms for Skyrim mods, having over 1 billion downloads made up on their website. And there's a lot of traffic that goes towards that as well. It's a clear sign that modding really makes the game live longer. Skyrim's been around for a very long time and the community still loves it because of the built-off mods and realism mods that have been out there as well with it. If you just want to play it again, but the graphics are a bit much for you these days, there's some real good graphics mods and shaders out there just to play Skyrim in a graphic visual representation for yourself. If you haven't played it, go do that because it's a real good game. And then Fallout, Bethesda probably dropped the mark with it coming out. It was a bit buggy, some of the Fallout games. So the community decided to try and do some community modding patching to restore the brokenness after launch, which they have done, which is really good in that way, improving performance, fixing bugs, restoring content that has been broken, or cut content out that has been unnecessary, correct the dialogue, make the scripts proper, and quest make more sense and logic. In the way of the community doing the patches and the mods for the games that they made. In doing so, the community has made the games feel a lot more like fun, enjoyable, playable for years to come. So the studio probably predicted the game wouldn't last as long, however, but it has. Because the longevity of the community keeping it alive with mods, with new ideas, new concept, new regions, new weapons and quests, new different utilities to the game to help you support, make you feel a bit more supported in that way. So fans really built a strong bond with the game and the worlds that they have created. They do it unpaid, but because it's their passion. They enjoy it. They love it. They love the game, the community, and the support. They just want it to stay alive forever. In that way, they just feel like they very lovable game, and they want to keep it going and add different ideas as the years go on as well. By doing so, the games that have been modded from the community, especially these two, have a lot of replay moments multiple times. You can go replay, like I say, you made a mod list of what you would like to do those mods, and then maybe go, all right, well, I've done those. Now I want to try a different mod list of packs that I want to try out this time and see how they go. Because sometimes too many mods could be a bit of an issue with your performance, and it depends on how much it can handle and the cap and struggles. So it really shows that the community support fresh play moments and feel new every time you try and jump in with different mods. So now we'll be talking about mod platforms. So we'll go a bit more in depth about Nexus mods, and then later on, after we talk about that, we'll go to CurseForge. So Nexus mod is one of the biggest, largest platforms out there for PC gaming for modding. It hosts hundreds of thousands of games, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of games out there. The reason why the platform's a big part of the community, it really centralizes the community of modding. Before, it was very unorganized. Going to different websites, if they're the right websites, it'd be hard to share files. You don't know what's right. You don't know how to download it. It just was a bit chaotic, unorganized, really messy, didn't make any sense. So when Nexus mode became a thing, it just felt like it was legitimate, the mods that you found online, without feeling like you're downloading a virus, and really organize the chaos mess by going through websites, searching different ones, going different links, having multiple tabs. You just open one tab, Nexus Mods, look on their page, scroll through them, go through all the pages, and it doesn't feel so risky. And they do all your finding mods basically on one page rather than having multiple tabs out there. CurseForge is one of the modding paid platforms out there for Minecraft. And Minecraft is big. Most people that play Minecraft do enjoy it non-modded. However, there's a lot of YouTubers out there doing mod packs, modded Minecraft, hardcore modded Minecraft. CurseForge isn't just limited to Minecraft. It is known for Minecraft because it's lots, hundreds, probably thousands of mods out there on CurseForge for Minecraft with over 1 million downloads. It's very high up there. Obviously, we talked about Hightail being partnership with CurseForge recently before they released their game. So when the game was released on the 16th this year on January, it had, I think, 50 mods on day one because modding community got access to it early. So the other game that is used is Terraria for CurseForge modding. Definitely, if you haven't modded that, I think you should try it out because it's a great play through as well. CurseForge also ties very closely to the different mod loaders like Forge, Fabric, Quilt, NeoForge for Minecraft as well. It doesn't make it so complicated. It has deep integration with the ecosystem, with having updates and the good management system as well. So these platforms really make you feel like you're not risking your game and affecting your save files because it just feels a bit more organized, not as sketchy for you. And people are more likely to mod their game these days with these platforms being available out there as well. It really lowers the barrier for players that aren't tech savvy to mod their games. You just open the launcher, and definitely know CurseForge have their own app. You just download it on the website. You can search for the app and just add your game, and then on CurseForge app, and then you scroll through the mods and you just download what you want and it's connected, and then you can launch from the CurseForge app that game with the mods, and then you tick them as you go. It's very simple, quick, and not messy. You get confused if you're not very tech savvy when it comes to looking through files and searching through all that chaos mess. So doing so, these platforms really builds trust towards the community because they are scanning the files, making sure they're not virused, the comments having supported by other players talking about their mod, rating their mods, saying this happened, bugs, reporting bad mods, sketchy mods. So they really build trust in the community because they look after each other. Everyone looks after each other in that way and support each other. These platforms did not just host mods, they built trust with strangers and made a community with multiple people online as well. These platforms really made the space for the community to share, to explore their way of modding their game and their creativity flow. They made it feel sustainable to open, have their voice without feeling unrecognized, slashed out, and they feel confident to keep on exploring. If you're just someone that wants to play games modded, it really has a safe space in that way where it's simple, it shows all that stuff. The next topic we'll be talking about is Minecraft. Java versus Bedrock edition of Minecraft and the modeling aspect of it. So Java edition Minecraft on the way it was before Bedrock came out. Their open ecosystem where players choose and suit what mods they want and play how they want. So this Java edition of Minecraft would be CurseForge modding in that sense. So you would download the mod loader that you want and bridge between the game and the mods. It depends on which mod loader you would download. Forge, Fabric, Quilt, NeoForge. It just depends on which one you want because different mod loaders have different mods supporting their loaders. Forge has been around for the longest. Most mods, very powerful. Big list of mods on that. NeoForge is obviously stem from Forge, not as much because it hasn't been around as long. Still the same kind of concept. Where Fabric is lightweight and it's more performance mods to improve Minecraft because it's not very performance based. It could have a bit more better performance issues fixed for base game to help with FPS. Then it has a smaller modular to that and similar to Quilt because that is a stem from Fabric. Feed the Beast, which is download that. It's kind of similar to CurseForge, however, it's a bit different. Feed the Beast have their own mod packs already up on their website. You just download the app, you download which mod pack you would like. It links to your Mojo account or your Microsoft account. You play from there. It's more mod pack based, very similar to Technic Launcher back in the day with Tekkit. But other ones, Yogbox, and there's a few out there that have their old mod packs that you can still play if you download those. Or there's some new ones as well, like New Horizons on Technic Launcher. That's a very big mod pack that I've heard that if you want to play a modded survival challenging building game, give that a shot. You'll spend hours on that. And so mod loaders, you don't really see them. They just help with all the work together with all the other mods. So they're very visible and they just help keep that all flow together. Now, we'll talk about Bedrock edition of Minecraft. It's more of a closed ecosystem where it isn't like you can pick and choose. You can choose whatever you want. So it's on PC only, on Windows. That Bedrock is, it's more of a marketplace where they have you buy Minecraft coins. You download which ones you want on that. However, it's a little bit more simpler when it comes to playing Minecraft modded with your friends because it all works. There's a less chaotic mess when it comes to trying to make sure the mods fit together. I think I heard that it's a lot more seamless modding in that way, but it's more of a garden that is fenced. You've got some mods in there, but you can't exit your garden to have these other mods that on Java. If they're not on the Bedrock marketplace, I know you can probably make mods and upload it onto Bedrock, but I think it's a bit more tedious in that way to do that. I think it's a good idea that those people that want to play with your friends and have realms, but keep it modded, but feel not as complicated and just have these purchases of Minecraft that you really appreciate of these mods, it will work fine. It'll seamlessly, it'll be fun, but it's a little bit more closed in that way. So with Java, you have the freedom, the exploration, but at a cost. It could be risky. Things could not work. Things could crash. You could have performance issues because some mods won't be compatible with each other. Even though they say they could work on the same mod loader, there could be some clashing in that way. It is more definitely community involved. There's a lot of people out there because Minecraft was Java first before Microsoft decided to make their own edition or called Bedrock Minecraft, which is a bit more harder compared to Java, I've heard, where Bedrock is more stable, very accessible, very simple. It's all in one launcher and you can just purchase your mods that you want out there. Very simple, safe, and obviously they made their own currency so they can profit from mods. And I'm pretty sure, hopefully the modders get a little bit of commission when people buy their packs. I would hope so. So the next topic we'll be talking about is the Steam Workshop. And Steam Workshop from Valve is a good idea. Really simple, very accessible. So there's some games on Steam that are mod friendly as well. They'll have a workshop, a Steam Workshop page where you go have a look and you go through their page. The game will tell you if they have a workshop, Steam Workshop page, type it up, go from there. So you would go for the pages, you will just basically click on it, read it, and press subscribe. And pressing subscribe will have the content added to your game in a text box where it says mods, and it will say this is being loaded. Would you like to continue this playthrough with that? I used it personally to mod my XCOM 2 playthrough to make it more intense, because why not? Because it's very simple to do and very simple to remove. It's more simpler for people that just want to try out some mods without risking this confusion of file sharing and things like that. I think it's a good idea that Valve did that. Gary's Mod was a good example of the Steam Workshop. That is a fun game. When I played it back in the day, that was a good game with different mods, different concepts, funny things, funny mods, and prop hunt on that was very fun for multiplayer. So the next thing we'll be talking about in this topic is developers supporting mods and their purpose. The core reason of mod keep the longevity of the game alive, and the love and the support, the community that they have to build of it. And developers might notice some things that are wrong with their game, like base game patch and updates, but someone modded did do it and they patched it. So they might go, well, maybe we should actually do that in our main update for base game. So we might do the patch update, or we might actually have the new content actually part of their game. So the core reason of the modding with development support with the community is having that line connected, talking to them in an open space without any feeling negative, upset, angry, just feeling a bit more supported and letting the community support their love and their game. In the developer's perspective, in their way, is we should let the modding community do some modding because they'll get free content out of it. They'll get some free testing and some new ideas in that way to see what the community come up with without costing the studio any risk, because they're just experimenting on their game without the studio releasing an update on their base game and then worried that they might lose money, impact their player-based numbers as well. That is a different perspective for developers, studios, having it in modern terms. So they rather watch their actions rather than their words, so they know what the community wants to see in their game or they just might leave it for the modders to keep it as a mod. When the studio developer supports modding, what happens? It makes the community feel like they have support, respect, and show compassion towards their game. Doing so will make them feel like they're being heard, supported, and having their creative flow explored. The community will have more goodwill and good intentions, respect to the studio and respect to the others in their space. The modders will feel empowered. The community will be all organized together to talk about the way of doing it. By doing this, supporting mods will turn the players into collaborators rather than just customers. They are a voice to help the studio expand on their game when it's in early access or when it's been officially a release for so many years. They still come up with new ideas and stuff, and they test the mechanics, the new game, new ideas, new play tests, and eventually they could become updates, or they could just make their own standalone game, and the modder might actually become a studio development because they felt like they modded the company that they supported, they loved, and they made so much modeling. They feel competent and supported that they have the skills and the knowledge to build their own indie studio game themselves. An example of this is Valheim, which did a good job supporting mods at the start. I don't know if they supported mods when it was in early access. They probably did, or when it was fully released, where they made it easy for the modders to open their files because their file structure was very simple. The developers do not lock them out on their games, and modders were allowed to encourage to design their own choices. So Valheim doesn't do it with a marketplace modding community. They do it through Nexus mods, and whether you can see some mods mod friendly. The community quickly builds mods that can be shared and supported on Nexus mod, and it opens a space for them to talk about it, support it, have different changes, have different playthroughs, and the young studio people still playing their games and feeling the love and support, which they really enjoy seeing people love their game. It is a good way of feeling very supported and loved, especially if it's one of your very early games in development, has done so well and people still enjoying playing it as well. So we talked about Hightail. It's a bit different. Hightail actually has built-in modding capabilities in their game because it was a game that was made by the people that started the Hypixel server on Minecraft. When they announced it, there's been ups and downs since 2018, I think it was. They announced it, but it's been a game that's been really wanting to become out from the community love and support from there. A game that's very community loved. So they decide to have in their creative mode, I believe, you could access the game files, alter any asset that you want, open to your asset, open to the game assets files as well. And you could alter, you can copy, you can implement different things so you actually can mod in the game. You just got to do a couple things outside a little bit, organize with your files and stuff before you jump in as well. But they are not restricting you. They want you to mod it. They want you to have experience. They want you to feel supported. They want you to explore the potential mechanics, especially it being early access and it's very limited to what that has, but it looks so incredible for what it is. And it's been long-awaited game to be out for a while. And they are not surrendering the control. They are letting the control in the community. They support it, and they're going to share the game. And hopefully this is a game that is supported for a very long time. And I believe it will be, especially with the people that play Minecraft, maybe want a bit of more of an RPG feel, play voxel game. I think in 3D, I think it's a good game to really check out in that way. If you're gonna go support it, because they had 2.5 million pre-order copies were sold. I think a lot of copies were sold. So they have covered for 2 years of funding because of pre-orders. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing for them, for that community-based indie studio. It's had a lot of ups and downs, but I believe it's going to go strong. So we're going to talk about the limitations and the challenges with modding now. I know we talked about all these great things, positive things, and exciting capabilities, but everything has duality. There is always a pros, there's also a cons. There's mixed always the time as well. So you could have capability problems, issues, and stuff. So is my computer can handle this mod? Because it probably won't have requirements. You're just going to probably upload the mod and download the mods and see if it's going to run. And it might not run, especially if you're going to be on console. They're limited to consoles as well with modding. You can, but it's really probably not recommended, especially it's consoles you can't do much with your requirements. And so you've got also mods can also clash with each other, and they might break, they might not work, they might corrupt each other. You could also lose your files, like you could actually lose your game file as well. It is risky in that way if there could be some issues. And the thing is, when you add more mods, the more mods you add, the more fragile the game becomes. So you add more mods into the basket, at a point, your basket will open up and break. You just got to be mindful about understanding that you have limitations on your device as well, and not bottlenecking the absolutely hell out of it unless you've got things. But most people do not have the money for that. So just be mindful that there is limitations on modding in that way. The reason why some developers do not support mods, they are mainly worried about these topics that what I just listed, the core problems as well. But there's another reason why they could also be worried about it is the legal copyright laws, where you don't know if the mod creator is actually using assets that have been copyrighted and flagged that please do not use this content, the sound, the asset, the art, and they might just upload the mod. And if people are playing their mod, downloaded it and playing it, uploading and showing it, exploring it, and someone finds out that's like, oh, hey, this is your asset. Was it actually allowed to be shown or sound by this person? It's like, no, because I protected it by the laws and copyright laws. And who cops the blame? Most of the time it'd be the studio. It's a bit of a grey area because they'll think, oh, it's their game that's doing that. That's their game. And it's not that, like, they might not know the person that they use of their content is the mod. So that is also a bit of a problem in that way. Also, there's another reason why they say no to mods is because they also want their game to feel balanced and not so like unbalanced. It's more have to do with multiplayer games with modding. They're worried about it multiplayer being really unstable, unbalanced, and just no fun when it comes to competitive time and moments. They're worried about cheating, security reasons, and they worried about their ban protection of it as well. And they also have to be mindful of the performance rules and the requirements for the computer as well, where they don't want to say they don't want their computer to not handle all this stuff, and they got to be mindful about what they're doing as well. It's not just like say, "Oh, why is this game not supported?" There's with the developer chooses not for their game to be not supported by mods. There's probably a reason why, and these could be some of the reasons why the mods aren't supported for their game in that way. Modding truly thrives in single player, sandbox, and system driven games. Modding really doesn't work for competitive games, live serviced games, which is your MMOs, your online games, such as Destiny. That doesn't work. Modding works best when creativity is open and it matters more than control and restrictions and locks. Modding is powerful, but it comes with trade-offs. Understand its limitations helps you explain why some developers embrace it, and it also shows why some developers do not do that. In this episode, mods remind us that games don't have to end at launch. They can have a long lifespan. When players are given the tools and the freedom to create the worlds that they are growing, evolving, exploring, standing relevant, sometimes for decades. Thank you for listening to the Undiscovered Worlds podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode where we embraced why mods keep games alive and how the community loves it and supports it and the limitations of it. If you enjoyed this episode, stay tuned for when we talk about roguelikes.
If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date about game topics that we will be talking about and the indie studios that explore in the comments. Let me know what mods are your favorite and what game are they from. Once again, thank you for listening to the Undiscovered Worlds podcast. From your host, Michael.